from what I understand, training is on the mat. That's training. You do work out as well?
I do work out, but like for me, the biggest lesson that I learned being a martial artist, wrestling gets you into wrestling shape. Fighting gets you into fighting shape. That's why you see these little guys knocking out these big dudes, not because they're stronger than them. Mm-hmm. They just actually know how to fight.
Shit's about to go down. I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.
Gotta let out that little, I don't know what it is. Gotta let it out. Get it out of me.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hello, friends, lovers of art and life and being badass. Welcome back to Chats and Tatts with me, your host, Aaron Della Vedova. I don't know. I kind of want to say a few words. I have an incredible human being on my show today, and it's given me pause. It's made me really think about some things about my own life. And, you know, when I was a younger man, I was pretty convinced I was quite the badass. I was winning at a lot of different things, always had a nice, pretty girlfriend with me. I would knock on most doors would open. And I just really gave myself, I think, a little more credit than I deserved. The thing I'm kind of referencing here is I was born in 1971 in the United States of America. I am a white male from a relatively stable family. That set me up where the wins I was having kind of just flowed, and to this day flow. And as I turn the ripe age of 52, I'm taking some accounting on all that. And what I really have to say is like, hey, I'm acknowledging that I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. And life has been relatively easy. Am I a hard worker? Did I outwork a lot of my peers in the tattoo industry? Yeah, I did. I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm not afraid of busting my ass. I'm not afraid of risk. I've done some cool shit. But I also had that setup that was pretty impeccable. And I think we live in a country today in America where there's a lot of people like me out there who just don't really acknowledge that they're just really, really blessed. Now, there are some of you listening right now that are also a white male who was born into a stable family, but shit happened, and maybe you live in a depressed part of the country where the economy is not so good. So I'm not saying that we're all automatically given winning situations just because you're born here. But a lot of us have been. And if you really do some traveling, which I have, you will find there are people in this world who are as equally as smart as me, equally as strong as me, and they aren't winning at the level I'm winning because they were born in Eastern Europe in some fucked up situation, or they were born in some very poor country in Africa and there's wars happening around them and their father's just been murdered by the enemy or whatever. These things are happening today as we speak. So I just want to acknowledge that. And I think the man I have on my show today is a gleaming example of what some people can overcome, even with the most extreme challenges that they're presented with. So I'm not going to get too deep into that. I'm going to let him tell you some of that himself. But with all of that being said, I would love a warm welcome today for Zion Zachariah Clark, otherwise known as Big Z.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What's up, man?
What's up? What's up? Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. I should add, you're a lover. This is Chats and Tatts. You love tattoos. You're heavily tattooed. You have been tattooed here at Guru Tattoo by Leo Farvin.
Got these pieces. You feel me?
Yeah. And you also got tattooed by Leo in Germany,
yes, sir.
Which is super cool. Universe lined up. You got a tattoo there as well. You know, everyone listening right now is probably like, what's the deal? Why is this guy special? Why is he different? What's up? Can you bring us along a little ride? Let us know what it is.
So first, I just want to start with my title. So I am Zion Clark and Big Z, but I'm also like the world's fastest man on two hands, 3-time world record holder. I'm also a multiple-time All-American at Kent State University. I'm also an undefeated professional MMA fighter, and I'm also a professional track and field athlete, along as a speaker, entrepreneur, philanthropist. The list goes on. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. It's the reason how I got here, you know, and my story comes from Canton, Ohio, where, you know, I was born without legs, and I went through the foster care system, and I kind of used my experiences to better myself and the lives around me. But on top of that, you know, being an athlete, being a wrestler, you know, I've been in this for 21 years at this point in my life. It's a constant. And for me, if I didn't have my athletics and my team and the people around me, there wouldn't be no Big Z today. You feel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people that loved you and supported you, and that. Yeah, I mean, the foster care ride. Basically, I did a little research, and basically, you're giving up for adoption. You're going through the foster care. You're being abused.
Yeah.
No one's giving you high fives. No one's giving you that pep talk. You can do this. I love you. You can do this. But and I think the research I gathered was you got a little rebellious there for a little while.
Oh, without a doubt, man.
And who wouldn't?
Exactly.
Who wouldn't look back at the world and be like, fuck this. I got fucking short into the stick and I'm not happy about it. I'm going to wreck some shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In my dumb world, I even kind of felt that way as a teenager. I was a punk rock kid and I was pissed my parents got divorced. Boo-hoo. Like that was my big challenge, But same kind of reaction to it. Just like, I'm going to fucking tear some shit up. Which was a blessing in my life because it led me to tattooing. Because tattooing 30 years ago was like a really rebellious thing to be a part. I don't think it is anymore, but it was at the time. And that was my way of just being like, I don't want to be a part of this culture. I don't want to be a part of these religions. I'm going to go do something a little different, So I kind of relate. I think your challenges are much greater than mine were, but I do relate to that rebellion stage that some people go through when the life's shitting on them, But tell me a little bit. So you what age, and I want to say her name because I think this person, obviously, this is your mom, and this is the start of your new life. Kimberly Clark Hawkins, right? This woman adopts you, takes you in. What age are you at this point?
I was 17.
17. So
Yeah.
you had, you didn't get, I thought, I was in my mind, I was like, you were really young, but you're almost an adult.
Yeah, no, I was getting ready. I was about to be homeless, and then she picked me up.
Wow.
I was about 5 days from being homeless.
Just the last
Yeah.
moment. So if Kimberly hadn't showed up,
I'd be sitting on the street at the moment.
damn, dude. Maybe not. You never,
You
something
know,
else
you know,
could
you
happen.
know, you never know.
But that's where you were
like,
headed.
immediately after, if another week would have passed, I would have been sitting on the street with the trash bag,
Wow.
wondering where I was going next.
But I should back up a little bit because now that I know that happened at 17, you were a wrestler at a high school in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Donahue,
Yeah.
who's a very premier wrestling coach, recognized in the wrestling community. For those of you who aren't really tuned into wrestling, and you can correct me a little bit on this,
Yeah, got you.
I should say that I was born in Iowa.
Okay.
Okay.
Wrestling state.
Yep, wrestling state. People don't know
Word.
there's wrestling states.
Yeah.
But there are.
Ohio.
Iowa's a wrestling state.
Ohio.
Pennsylvania. Yep.
Jersey, California. Believe it or not.
But the most
Yeah.
renowned ones, I think, are like Ohio is
Yeah,
really known.
Ohio, we've been known as the #1 place to produce the most savage wrestlers.
Yes, that's kind of what I was getting at. So prior to Kimberly finding you, you are wrestling in high school under the assistance and teachings of Coach Donahue.
Mhm.
So this is a phase where you do start getting like some self-worth. You're like, because you're winning. I mean, you're not just wrestling, you're beating dudes with legs. You got is that how it's going? You're like, okay, I'm an athlete. Like I'm fucking good at something here.
Not for the first like 3 years of high school. I didn't win until I was like a junior, and I won one match barely. And then,
but you stuck through all those losses.
dude, I lost for years on end, bro. But it was really like, you gotta just like learn from your mistakes. And so I just kept coming back, and I kept getting my ass kicked, and I just kept going back and kept getting my ass kicked. And there came to a point where I remember I hit a certain move at this one tournament and still lost the entire tournament. Like went 2 and out. You know what I mean? But like I hit this move where like I got a takedown and it almost worked. The next year I come back and I hit that same move and I pin everybody and take first place at the same tournament the following year.
Wow.
And the thing is, win or lose, for me, it was like, okay, I lost. But at the same time, I'm collecting information the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it was a mixture of me just kind of getting over myself and forgetting about what I can't do and what I could possibly do rather than just, being a little puss, and like
no, stop being a victim and start just drop the victim story and just get on
get up
with it.
and get up and get on. Everybody's always like, man, what's going on at home? I feel sorry for this and that, and then like it was messing my head up. But like honestly, after I got adopted, I kind of felt like some room to breathe. I started putting my hands in everything more seriously. I sacrificed a lot of different things to focus more on wrestling. Man, I was wrestling 3 times during that summer. I was wrestling 3 times a day, 7 days a week. You know, I was spending 8 hours on the wrestling mat.
You're working harder than the average wrestler.
Yeah. And like I'm exhausting myself. I remember I get back to my mom's house. I'd walk in the doors and fall asleep at the bottom of the steps, wake up in the middle of the night, go take a shower.
Damn.
And like that was how my life was.
How hard you were working.
Yeah.
How committed you were.
And then going into that next year, I won out almost every single tournament, almost beat every single person I came up against. And that's how it was going. And like all those big wins I had, it wasn't like I was just beating some rinky-dink guy here or there. No, like I'm going up against the number 3 guy in the state, number 1 guy in the state.
In Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like some of these guys are ranked like internationally, like nationally and internationally, because like, you know, Ohio, we produce freaks.
Right.
And so like I'm going up against the best guys in my weight class and I'm winning.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Now I'm one of the best guys in the weight class and now nobody knows what to do.
I want to ask a little bit about that. We're going to get a little technical here because my father took second his senior year in Iowa.
Yeah.
In the state championship. Studied under, I keep saying Gable. What was his first name? Famous wrestling coach. Dan Gable.
Yeah.
Coach Gable.
Yeah.
For those of you who are wrestling people, I think he coached on the Olympic team. Gnarly dude. But anyway, he it's a wrestling. My dad's a wrestler, you know. But he got my mom pregnant, and I don't know if I got all these facts right, but I'm pretty certain how it went down is I just got a girl pregnant. I should be going on a full ride scholarship for wrestling to, I think it was Iowa University or something like that. And it all got scratched because he needed to go get a job and raise me. You know, I guess Dad, if you're listening, I always felt a little sorry about that, bud. I mean, I don't know. But that all stopped for him. And then, of course, he coached on my dad coached on my high school wrestling team. I wrestled for a bit, but my freshman year, I did wrestle. But for me, girls and cars, and I just floated that way. And I was also very artistic. And I wasn't that good, I don't think. I'm tall and lanky. And all the dudes I remember I was wrestling were short and stout and thick. And I was getting wrapped up a lot. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if this is my... So I drifted away. But I know enough to know what it is to train to wrestle. It's brutal, dude. It is one of the most... The way they would run us before practice, just the drill routines, and then the actual training. Practices, kids are puking, you know. I don't have to tell you any of this.
No, you don't understand. Like, and when I was in high school, you know, I'd go and like help out at like a youth practice, you know, like the youth kids. And this kid would have like threw up like on the ground, and you got a coach standing on him like, "Get up, come on, get up!" And this kid is just like bawling.
Oh, just crushing.
And like, you know what I did? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
because they were the same way to me, and look how it turned out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You got to go through that shit.
Yeah, you just gotta go through. It's like rite of passage. You know,
you got to be tough.
You know, like tough kid, like coachable kids turn into tough kids turn into winners.
Mm-hmm. Good way to put it. I guess I was heading towards a little bit of like technical stuff because I did watch as a wrestler, as a guy who came from a wrestling family. When I heard the story of your record and the people you were beating, I was kind of like, what? How is he doing this?
Yeah.
So I watched some of your wrestling videos and it kind of became clear to me, and I want you to clarify this, but without having legs, I saw you doing shit to these other dudes that I could tell they were completely thrown off guard. You were whipping and flipping around them in ways that the regular dudes had never done to them before. They were confused, and this was giving you an advantage. Am I right to say that there was you leaned into this advantage? Yeah,
yes and no. You know, at first it was an advantage because like once I figured it out, nobody knew I figured it out, and that kind of gave me the edge. You know, if I'm gonna be honest about that. But like the longer I've been in this, like, you know, that it's been almost 10 years since I was 18. You know, it's been 8 years since like that really all that like started to go down now. And since then, everybody has watched how I move, studied how I move. Now it's not a surprise anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it took
but the thing is, the reason why I'm still winning is because, surprise or not, I'm perfecting my skills.
Right. You can't use... You're winning now because of just pure skills, not... Yeah, in the beginning, I see that you took him by surprise. Yeah. But that's gone now.
It's gone now. You see these guys I go up against want to knock me out and knock my head off.
Right.
And my thing is, fuck it, let's run it. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Where do you got some fire in you, dude? I love this. You're inspiring. Just being around you, dude. I this energy you're shooting my way right now, like you're making me want to. I don't know what I'm gonna do after this episode, but I'm gonna do something awesome. but no, you got some determination, some fire in you. Where you get that? Were you just born? Is this DNA I'm looking at here? I mean, I know I'm hinting towards something here.
Yeah.
You mentioned your grandpa, your great grandpa, the family you grew up. Tell me a little bit about where that comes from, because not many people have that level of fire in them.
You know, I've always had kind of like attitude. When I was a kid, you know, I was a problem child. I would start fights. You know, usually I would be picked on, and I'd be the person to throw the first punch, and then I'd get beat up. But like my thing was, you would knock me down, and I would literally run at you. You know, I just never cared ever since I was a little boy. Like my thing was, you disrespect me, I'm gonna disrespect you. Let's run it. Let's fight. Let's throw down. And then like afterwards, if you want to be my friend, I don't really care if you are or not. You know, but like as of right now, this is what's happening. And for me as a kid, they got so real like that because a lot of these homes, I had to figure out how to defend myself. You know, after you get hit so many times, you're like, okay, I need to do something. I need to like show some backbone. You know. I need to be tougher. I need to be meaner. I need to be more vicious, more violent. And so as I'm coming up through this stuff, it wasn't like it was built in. By the time I was like 17, even 15, 16, I had this attitude about me that I was just nasty. And like, I wasn't a bad kid, you know, like, but I do really bad shit, if that makes sense.
It does.
And like, as I get older, I just kind of, like I still feel that way sometimes. Like I catch myself doing like shit, you know, but like at the same time, who doesn't?
Yeah,
you know. And so with all that being in my experience, why wouldn't it make sense for somebody like me to figure out what I want to get done?
You know what's also interesting about you that I'm kind of picking up right now is I've met a few people that for different reasons had to become nasty. They were in life situations when they were young, whether it be gang stuff, even my own silly world in the early years of tattooing, there were some really nasty people around me. And I caught myself becoming like them a little bit because I had to, because if you just look like the little bitch in the room, these are the
Dude, there's like, they prey on the weak in the rooms, you know?
You got to at least fake it.
You ever catch me in one of them rooms, man? I'm big dog in there. You know what I mean? You got to be.
Yeah, that's
because like that. Energy transference is real, and you can feed off of it.
Yep. If they feel you that, oh, that's the guy that's going to back down, you're the victim.
Yep.
They'll make you a victim real quick. But what I was getting at is for those folks I know that, and even myself to some degree, that kind of are forced into a situation where you've got to find that inner warrior, and that's great. Some of those guys or girls don't seem to be able to drop it. Like they become that warrior, they become vicious, but it's 10 years later and they're still carrying this like kind of don't fuck with me. Like you can feel that meanness. They just carry it.
Yeah.
And you're like just jolly and happy and positive. Like, but I know if I was to go across this table and try to get you, that would turn off.
Oh yeah.
And some other animal would come out of you. But that's a pretty cool thing. There's not a lot of folks can do both.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You know, I'm blessed to be living the way I am. If I'm not happy, even with all this crap that's happened behind me, then I don't deserve this shit, you know? And so there's a way to balance, you know, being chill and like being real passive. And then there's the other side, which is pure violence and aggression. Because like when I step onto the mat or I step into a cage, I'm out for blood and it makes me happy. You know, it's like I really like putting somebody down. You know, I'll talk to you like a dirty animal and like punch you in the face. You know, and I don't care. It makes me happy. But at the same time, doing good for my community, doing good for the people around me, doing good for my family also makes me happy. But that's the thing. I'll smile in your face, but if you touch me, I'll whoop your ass. Yeah,
that's cool, man. I mean, just to be able to turn the frequency where it needs to be for the situation you're in.
Exactly.
If the situation is helping out a youth group, you're the nicest guy in the world.
Exactly.
The situation is it's a cage fight, you're the other thing.
Yeah.
And I feel that in you. You're like a light switch. You don't. It doesn't even take you more than a few seconds to switch to the other thing.
No, my thing is I feel like I'm always ready. You know, like my senses, I feel like are dialed up to the 11 or 12. Because like when I fight, man, everything's like almost slow motion a little bit. You know, and I'm able to move. I'm able to execute my moves. I'm able to land strikes that I probably shouldn't be landing, you know? And I just feel like super tuned in with like the world around me. I don't hear anything. Like my last fight, like, yeah, dude, it was a sold out crowd and I couldn't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and when I say I couldn't hear anything, not because it was so loud, I couldn't hear the crowd because I'm so focused on how your body's twitching, like what way your toes are twitching. If your shoulders or muscles flex for a second, because I know you're about to fire off on me, you know, or like the way your head moves, because you might try to snap me down and take my neck, you know. And there's a lot of things that play into it. So as an animal, as a fighter, as a warrior, as somebody that's just built for violence, I stay calm in those moments, and then I get excited, and then I fire off.
That to me is what some people call flow state.
Yeah.
You hear that from surfers.
Oh, no, that's
you
what that
hear
is.
it from mountain bikers.
You hear it from wrestlers. That's a big thing in our thing.
Yeah.
Flow state, man. There's some matches where I hit the flow state and I'm just like kind of like demoralizing cats, you know? And that sounds super cocky, but it's not. If you go back and look at some of the footage, I'll sit there tied up and I'll just bounce your head off the mat, pick your leg up, fireman's carry you, expose your back, let you turn over, let you up, smash your head back out on the mat, and I'll double leg you, take you down to your back, and score another 5 points, let you up, smash your head back down, headlock you, and then cradle you and pin you. You know what I mean? Like, I like the effort.
Well, that flow state's addicting.
Oh, no, it is.
Why do you think these guys can't get off their surfboards? They're not every wave is flow state, but every once in a while they get on one. And like you said, when you're in flow state, the only things that operate in your body are the things that are necessary for the task at hand. In that fight, your body doesn't need to hear anything. So it shuts off hearing.
I want to be able to see you, and if I touch you, I can lose my eyes and I'll still be fine. Because if I can see which way you're about to go, and like studying somebody's body like that, knowing what way they're going to strike first takes a long time. And
you have a different vantage point. I never thought of that. You're looking at people's knees and lower body. Like if I'm standing toe to toe, you might be able to trick me with your head movement because I'm looking at your shoulders.
Exactly. And my thing is your head will never move past your feet when you're standing up. If I can get past your head, I can get to your feet. If I can get to your feet, that means I'm past your head already.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
This is fun. This is kind of technical stuff, but I'm interested, and it's interesting to hear you explain it. Let me shift gears here for a second.
Yeah.
Are you a spiritual man?
Yes, sir.
Christian?
Yes, sir.
Raised Christian? How do you... I'm Buddhist. I shouldn't say that. I don't go to a monastery and meditate with Buddhists, you know, but I've read a lot about Buddhism and Taoism, and I try to really incorporate that into my life, which in that regard, we're different because the Buddhists believe in reincarnation and the Christians do not. They believe in you live this one life and you're judged, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a judgment of some kind, and then you go to hell, purgatory, or heaven. And I'm not against that model. I was raised in a Catholic family, and honestly, the more I've unwound this stuff,
they're all kind of the same.
That's kind of where I've ended up, except for one part that isn't the same. That I had a guy on recently, very big Christian, and we did this. I was like, there is one thing that is wildly different, dude. The Buddhists believe in reincarnation, and the Christian does not.
Yeah, but like, aside from that, their savior figure, their God figure, they're almost all the same. You look at Norse mythology, you look at Greek mythology, you look at Christianity, you look at Buddhism, you look at the Islamic religion, you know what I mean? It's all the same thing.
Well, the lessons are the same.
Like even some of them have the same figures.
Oh, right,
You know what I mean?
It just changes outfit a little bit. Yeah.
If you ever really like break it down, almost every religion in the world correlates with one another, dating back to some point. Why is that?
Because it's truth.
Exactly.
And truth, a universal truth, I would call it. Universal truth always shows up no matter where you go, no matter what language they're speaking. The truth is the freaking truth, right? And I agree with you 100%, but I still get stuck up personally on...
But hold on. Think about it, though. Imagine, like, everybody around the world seeing one thing, but perceiving it.
And describing it differently. I would agree with that as well.
Yeah.
I have had experiences under the influence of dimethyltryptamine. I use hallucinogenics. I have used hallucinogenics for the purpose of trying to meet God, to go to behind the veil. I'm not just doing them at a party. Woo, let's take some mushrooms. I've done that too, but I'm talking these are purposeful moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I have seen, because I'm Buddhist or like to try to be a Buddhist, I come back and the way I describe it is very kind of Buddhist. But if I was a Christian and saw these same things, I would probably come back and say, I just saw Jesus or God.
Because you're perceiving the same thing, but from a different lens. That's what I
that's
think is
right.
going on. Because you think a lot of religion, especially like Jewish religion, like the Islamic religion, you know, Christianity, and a lot of these things, even the Greek mythology, they're all kind of like exactly the same thing.
A lot of common threads.
Dude, like
A lot of common threads.
like too many common threads.
Yeah.
Like I've studied religion across. I studied geography in college, and I also studied religion on top of that. So like, kind of like a nut for that.
Oh, so you did some actual research. I mean,
Yeah.
you actually studied. This
Yeah.
isn't just anecdotal stuff you've come up with.
No, like
Yeah.
studying the different religions. There's a lot of like common ground that they all have, but yet you see all these countries that have a different faith belief literally going to war with each other, which doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Right. Right. Well, I said to this guy on my last episode, according to your belief, I am going to go to hell. I thought he was going to do what you're doing. And he said, yeah, you are. I was like, damn, dude, I'm like a nice guy. Like, I go to hell. He's like, yeah, you do. You have to accept Christ as your savior. And I kind of have, because of the fact that I do believe we're talking about the same thing. I was baptized a Catholic. I do accept Christ as my savior, but I appreciate and I enjoy Buddhism more. But then I turned it and I was like, okay, so what about, I don't know, they just found some new people living in South America, some tribe down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah. They never have met. They don't even know there's a world outside their little, where they live. Because he was saying, well, everybody has an opportunity to accept Christ as their savior. And I said, not everybody. There have been people who have existed on the planet who were never told about Christianity. And I go, what happens to them? They go to hell? What, some just nice, native person who's never got the opportunity to accept Christ as their savior. They go to hell. And he said, yeah. And I'm like, I don't think that's a system that God would
work very well.
Yeah, but that's where it gets. And I know I'm splitting hairs a little bit.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
And if any of you Christians out there who are like, Aaron, you're missing something, go ahead, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear it. I just don't feel like if a God that created the entire universe would do something that I perceive as being relatively unfair.
Yeah.
It's not really fair.
Yeah.
I mean, you did get exposed to Christianity. You were given the opportunity to accept Christ as your savior, and therefore you will go to heaven. And I actually am in the same boat. But some people don't get that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I guess where I'm really kind of twisting this up towards is when you reference, if I was born with a disability of your nature, I think one of the things I would do is start really questioning God. Like, what? I'd be like, bro.
But like, here's the thing. Why question? Well, you should, think about the longer you live, he kind of explains the why. You know, if you're given.
That's good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, now at this age that I'm at, why question it when I'm happy, I'm successful, I'm content with my life.
That's cool.
I feel like I'm blessed. You know what I mean? Why question it?
Damn, dude, that's a good answer.
Yeah,
that's a really good answer. I was really curious as I drove here. What is he going to say to that one? But was there a phase when you were younger? I know you're there now.
Yeah,
you had to have the fuck you moment, like, bro, you fucked me over, dude. I'm pissed off about this.
Actually, no. You know,
you never did that,
man. I grew up as a drummer in the church.
Oh, you've been in it.
Yeah. So like, the reason I have such music skills because like I learned from church. You know what I mean?
Is it a particular type of? Is it Baptist or something?
No, like gospel music.
Okay.
So like,
I like that. I've never been to one of them churches, but every time I see that,
I love it.
They look fun, dude. If I ever go to the South, I told my wife, we ever go to the South, which I've never been to the South, I'm like, I'm going to church at one of these churches. I want to go deep South Baptist.
Oh, you're gonna like it.
I want to hear the people standing up in their seats, singing, speaking tongues, running around crazy, celebrating God. I think it looks beautiful. I'm not saying that in a let's make fun of them type of way.
Absolutely. No, it's a form of praise, man. You know, for me, when I was in church making music, me ripping on the drum set was my thanks to the Father. You know what I mean? So like, I grew up in the church, at least in the music scene. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of other shit going on, but I still grew up in that scene.
Well, you brought it up, so we might as well
And
touch
like,
on that.
as a kid, you know, I never really had that moment. I was just wondering why all these people were shit. You know?
Right. Why are there so many shitty people
Yeah.
around you
Yeah.
that were doing shitty things to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, when can I get out? I wasn't thinking, like, why'd you do this to me?
And why do you
I was
think,
just wondering, like, when is it going to stop?
and why do you think now? Why do you think those people did those shitty things?
I can tell you right now, there's a lot of money involved in the foster care system with me being also quote unquote disabled. I am
They
like,
make money if they have you as their adoptive
yeah,
kid.
like you get the money from the foster care system, then you get the government assisted money from.
So
me being disabled.
you're a big ticket
I was
item. You make more money.
I was a motherfucking piggy bank. You feel me? And the thing is, if you have like, you should put those resources in. I'm not saying give the kid money. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But like, put the resources in so they have a semi-normal life. You know what I mean?
Right.
As like a real foster parent should. If you get X amount of money every month to take care of your child, don't pocket it. Put it into your child.
Right.
Put it into something. Put it into a trust fund. Put it into something
Mm-hmm.
that they can use later in life, or something that you can put down for supplies for them, so you guys have food, have water, have clothes, have electricity, have heat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just pocket it, use it for your own gain, and leave the child with nothing, which was me.
Interesting. And I did kind of know that broken part of that system.
Yeah.
I didn't know the part about them getting more money because of your particular situation, but that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
So these guys are, we got to get this guy. We're going to make more money.
Mhm.
Oh, I get it. That explains a broken system. But my question has more to do with, there were people who abused you and have treated you shitty. Why do you think what's wrong with those people? Why do people do that?
I couldn't tell you. Only God knows. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you why. I could only tell you how they did it. You know what I mean? Which I
Right.
won't. But like, I can just, I still to this day don't understand the why. When you're just a kid, when you're 5 years old and you're 4 years old and somebody is beating the shit out of you, you don't really ask why. You're just wondering, when is it going to stop? Why? Like, you don't ask why they feel like this way. You know, you're asking, why are they doing this right now?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I never really thought back on that. But at the same time, you can think on it as much as you want now. What we do now that we're older,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Now that
Right.
we do now what we're older is we stop people from doing it to kids like myself that remind me of myself, that are going through the same damn things, and start a new process so we can have a better world for these kids.
Dude, I love this part of you that really, you've said it several times, and you do a lot of this, like, why am I going to bother myself with shit that's done? Like, you don't look back a lot.
Yeah.
You're forward focused, because it doesn't, you're right. It doesn't, what good does it do you to reflect on that?
It's
over.
I might feel sentimental for 30 seconds,
Right.
but like after that, it's time to get to business.
Time to go forward.
Yeah.
I'll answer that question. I do think about that. And I mean, I just think, quite simply, if you were to look down the pathway of a shitty person, you will almost always find that they were hurt. So they're basically traumatized.
Yeah, you know, hurt people.
Yeah, that.
You know?
That. And that's where the compassion sometimes comes in for me. When I see that
Yeah.
shitty stuff going down, I'm like, I can't allow it, but I can understand it. And then some level of compassion sort of oozes out from that. You still
Yeah.
got to have your boundaries.
Yeah.
You can't let them in your fucking kitchen. But I always think to myself, when I see that shitty person or hear the story of that shitty person, I always think, wonder what happened to them, man. Something obvious happened, because babies are born. I've seen a ton of them. They're all pretty beautiful. I haven't met one that was really violent.
Don't lie to yourself. Don't act like you ain't seen an ugly baby before.
I didn't say ugly. I said they're loving and peaceful. But some shit happens to some babies, and they grow up to be not loving and not peaceful. But it's always because something happens. I don't think it's an evil soul that's born into that child. I think, events occur, and then it's complicated, and they might turn into a violent person, might do some crappy shit.
Well, that's the thing. We're born innocent. We're corrupted by the people around us and the world around us.
Right.
If there wasn't any corruption in the world, everybody would be innocent, but that's not how it works.
It isn't.
I swear, as soon as we hit like 10 to 15 years old, we lose it. And we start turning into whatever is around us at that moment. We absorb the energy from everything, and then we become that. Or we become some sort of version of that. That's us, but also whatever the world has used to corrupt itself.
Yep. And then if it's not a good situation you're at 15, some of us spend many, many, many years unwinding that and correcting that. That aren't, some people I think at 15 are born with just a beautiful, loving family around them, and great, everything's perfect, right? So they become that. That's pretty simple. but others don't. And you become that other thing, which isn't healthy. And then you have to slowly figure that out and fix that about yourself. That's interesting, man. It's interesting, this world we live in, and the differences in each people's lives, how some people have it so easy, some people have it so hard. It's crazy. I try to make sense of it every day. You know, I don't think there's a beautiful meal I've ever eaten that at some point, as I put that piece of steak in my mouth, I'm thinking about, oh man, somewhere, somehow, somebody is starving.
Yeah.
And then it's like, Aaron, what do you eat your fucking steak, if God, and I use the word God, I use the word universe, but I do believe that the universe or God creates situations that lead us to where it wants us. Like, you know what I mean? Like doors open and you find opportunities. So you lean into it. We're going to talk a little bit about the work you do to help others. Yeah. Special doorways have opened to you because of your life circumstances that make you especially adept to help people in a special way that I can't.
Yeah.
Right. So you've leaned into those, you've noticed it and you've leaned into it.
Yeah.
And so back to my reference is, I think, well, the doorways that have been opening for me, and I found many doorways where I helped people and I still do, but the doorway to fly to wherever that place is in Africa to give that child food, that wasn't a doorway that really blazed open for me.
Yeah.
That's a funny thing to say, but I just think that the universe puts us where we belong to give help in ways that are unique to us, and I have my way, you have your way, and there's some social worker on a jet right now going to do that thing I just spoke about, right?
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting world we live in, the inequality. It's I wonder if there's a future, I don't know if it's 100 years or 1,000 years where humans could fix that and all just kind of come back together and kind of like take care of each other like a small tribe does. Little 100-person tribal communities, they don't let anyone in the tribe suffer. Someone leans in and always helps that person. Yeah. Our tribe is so big that we'll just walk past a guy in a gutter and say, "Get a job, bitch."
Yeah.
And it's like, really? I don't know if he's capable of getting a job. I dare you to walk in that man's shoes or woman's shoes and see if you're not sitting in that gutter. That shit. But we all do what we can, right? I'm going a little on there, but
no, you're good.
Let me ask you. So back to fighting. You're a wrestler.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier you're now doing MMA?
Yeah, I've been doing MMA for the last 4 years now.
Okay. Do you mostly wrestle or mostly MMA?
I mostly do both. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like I found a nice medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
How often do you compete?
Competed last December, then took a year off, broke my ribs, got sick a few times, and then got a skin disease most recently.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I've had a weird year.
That is a weird year.
Yeah. So since then, I've been super messed up. So I've been back getting healthy and I feel pretty good. So we're working on some combat jiu-jitsu right now. And then top of that, another fight, possibly in Orlando and then possibly Vegas, possibly New York City too. So we're working on a whole bunch of different things with my PR team. I've been talking to my coach every other day up in Long Beach, Coach Antonio McKee. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing some cool things and making sure that, once I hit the mat, hit practice, once I'm back up in LA full time, that we're going to knock out the next year. And I'm going to try to fight 4 to 5 times, how much ever I'll get me, how much ever money I'll make, and go knock some heads and knock out some more teeth and wear them as a necklace.
Dude, you're a warrior. I love the way you think. What is your, let's get down to just some brass tacks. You're an elite athlete.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I do like to try to be healthy. I do some stuff that I think average guy doesn't do. I do my yoga. I have a trainer. I eat pretty well. But I'm always interested when I talk to athletes, real athletes. What's your day-to-day? I know right now you're recovering from some things, so maybe your day-to-day shifted a little bit.
My day-to-day is not how it usually is. But I'm going to tell you my usual day-to-day. My usual day-to-day, I'm usually up super early in the morning running my dog. And then from there, I do whatever work I got to do during the day or that morning. If I'm up in LA, I'm at practice at 10:30. If I'm down here in San Diego, I'm at practice at 4:30. And then from there, I train for about 2.5, 3 hours. And then after that, I go do whatever I got to do. I train usually Monday through Friday, I mean. Saturdays and Sundays, usually fight days or fight weekends. And with that being said, I don't have practice Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I usually would try to book all my stuff on the weekend so I can go do, so I can have my time to train during the week. And then, it's I'm a pretty normal
But
dude.
more specifically, from what I understand, training is on the mat. That's training. You do work out as well?
I do work out, but like for me, the biggest lesson that I learned being a martial artist, wrestling gets you into wrestling shape. Fighting gets you into fighting shape. That's why you see these little guys knocking out these big dudes, not because they're stronger than them.
Mm-hmm.
They just actually know how to fight.
All right.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I didn't know because I'm not in your world, but I just figured you were splitting time between the gym and training.
I don't go to the gym that much anymore. I used to be like in the gym all the time. I was like a gym nut, and like I still will, and I'm gonna be back in there to like cut weight and like boost my conditioning here very soon. And like my thing is, I'd rather be on the mat throwing punches because it don't matter how much I lift. It gets tired throwing punches when somebody's trying to punch you. So you got to condition your body for that.
Makes sense. Do the thing you're training to do.
Yeah.
I mean, a pro surfer, they probably lift some weights and do
a
some
pro
shit.
surfer isn't going to get good at surfing by doing squats.
No, they got to get out and ride waves every day.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's kind of reminded me of my new apprentice model here at the shop. We used to make them lift, quote unquote, lift a lot of weights. And I've changed that now. I get them right on those machines.
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to be a tattoo artist? Let's fucking tattoo. They're like, huh? I'm like, yeah, we're going to put needles into skin today. Not right away, but I go quicker towards it because I've learned what you've learned, which is there's only one way to get good at tattooing. It's the act of tattooing, and we can sit here and play around with fake skin and we can look at needles all day long and talk about ink theory. There's a little room for that, but in the end, you got a tattoo.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, actually learn the craft.
Yeah. What about what's your? This is all pro athlete questions because I'm really curious. What about diet, vitamins, nutrition, NAD drips? What do you do in that realm?
When I'm in like the middle of a training camp, there's this place I go up into in LA. I'm working on a sponsorship right now. It's like LA Health or something like that. But I go and I get these IV treatments of different like.
You doing NAD or are you doing like just like vitamin?
I'm doing like vitamins. I'm doing hydration. So like technically, like if I cut a bunch of weight, I want to be able to stay hydrated and not like gas my body with hydration and like gain a ton of weight. So I'll go get half an IV bag, because like it kind of tricks your body into thinking that like, oh, you're hydrated, you can go work out more.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you are more hydrated.
I am. Yeah. And so then I go work out more, then I'm able to cut more weight. Yeah. And so like I'll do that. I'll do like proteins and stuff like that, vitamins.
Are you vegan? Are you not?
I am not a vegan. I like my steak.
So your diet is just regular food.
I'm regular food. Dude, I went to the national championships and the morning that I placed, I had 8 soft tacos from Taco Bell.
Soft potato? I never heard of that one. So it's
they're
a potato?
They're off the dollar menu.
They're just is there a taco that are made of potatoes inside?
Yeah, you see, you know what I'm talking about.
Is Eric nodding his head? Yeah. There's no meat in them though. They're just like a potato taco.
It's spicy.
They must be good. The way you're smiling, I'm gonna have to try one.
I could eat one right now.
That's honestly funny though. Before you go compete at an elite level, you're at the dollar menu at Taco Bell.
Dude, I
slamming. That's funny.
Bro, I was like that kid in college. Like, I was the captain of my team, right? So I told everybody, I was like, y'all are a bunch of bitches if you don't come with me to Burger King and get 100 nuggets, because we can get 100 nuggets for $10 because each like you get 10 nuggets for $1. You feel me? So like we went. So like one day after practice, we went to the Burger King and we all ordered 100 nuggets, and we sat down. And then we ate all these nuggets, and then went to practice next day, like at 5 a.m. I had the worst morning of our lives.
Oh yeah,
but that was a bad one. Don't ever
That's
eat.
A little extreme.
Don't ever eat 100 nuggets from Burger King. It's not good for your stomach.
I'll bet.
But I can just kind of eat anything.
Okay.
Like my thing is like, yeah, put good things into your body, but at the same time, when you're elite, bro, like you see like okay, I'm not gonna throw him under this bus, but one of my buddies, he plays. He's a top tier running back in the NFL.
Okay.
This motherfucker eats McDonald's every day. Every single
That's
day.
That's shocking to me.
You know what I mean?
It's shocking.
And he is one of the top 3 running backs in the league.
I wonder if how old is he?
He's like my age. He's like 26.
I think a lot of this you get away with when you're young. And then I'm telling you as an older man, like I got away with a lot of that shit too in my own weird way. But then you hit 35, 38,
Okay.
40.
But my thing
You
is,
ain't living on McDonald's.
My thing like that. My thing is, I'll get there when I get there.
Oh yeah, ride the ride. I did too. You know, I used to lunch was a carne asada burrito. Go tattoo for 8 hours. Shit. If I ate a carne asada burrito for lunch and tried to tattoo, I'd be asleep. I'd feel like shit. Now I'm all like, I eat pretty clean. You just when you get older,
And like,
it changes.
don't get me wrong, I eat clean too. Like I'll make my own food. Like I'll do stuff. I'll make my own meals. Like I don't mind it. You know, and I can cook too. I know how to make something healthy and like tasty.
Right.
But at the same time, if somebody's like, hey, you want to go to McDonald's? I'm not even gonna breathe before I say yes.
I will admit, and it's good. McDonald's is good. Big Macs are good. They taste good every once in a while. Well, that's cool, man. So that is what else? What's the goal? Where are you headed? Like I know you told us like next year you've got a lot of competing ahead of you. Training and competing.
I got a lot of track and field events coming up this next year, starting in the spring, and then I have
track and field would be when you're wheelchair racing.
Yep, Team USA, all that. And then also I'm getting some more fights booked. When you hit a lot of more grappling tournaments, try to win some more money. I'm going to be competing at the High Rollers tournament in Vegas. And cool thing about it is like you go through this tournament, and if you like win every grappling match, you get 5 pounds of weed.
5 pounds of weed
and a cash prize. It's called the High Rollers tournament.
I get it now.
So my boy, you know who Kimbo Slice is, right?
Yes.
So his son, Kevin Ferguson II, is we call him Baby Slice. That's my boy.
Okay.
So he's the one I'm gonna be under Slice's team.
What are you gonna do with 5 pounds of weed?
Smoke it.
You've answered the next question. All right. You like to smoke weed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I smoked with Uncle Mike back a while back.
You're talking about Tyson.
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Okay.
I smoked with Mike Tyson like 8 months ago. And we got blown, and it was
I want to talk about that for a second. Weed and athletics. Okay. I'm not a pro athlete.
Yeah.
I love to snowboard. I love to ride dirt bikes. I used to surf a bit.
Mhm.
But for me, there's a certain amount of weed you can smoke in that flow state we talked about happens. Like I feel like weed can help you. I know that I can't remember his name. Somebody won the Olympics in snowboarding high as fuck.
Oh shit.
I can't remember who it was. I don't know. They try to take his medals away and shit.
Oh yeah, no, they'll do that. So like for me, I gotta definitely be clean for like Paralympic sports and like Olympic.
You get tested for that.
Olympic sanctioned events.
All right.
But like when I fight and like when I grapple, they don't care.
I've heard the jiu-jitsu community is a marijuana community a big way.
Oh, they love
They're
it.
a bunch of stoners who love to grapple.
They love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like
you would compete high.
I would not.
Okay, you would train high.
Yeah, and then smoke a bunch of weed afterwards.
Okay, that's kind
yeah.
of
Like I won't even train high. Like I like say for instance, like if I smoked a little bit of weed this morning, went to practice at 4 p.m. today, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Because I'm sweating it out through my glands. And like when I compete, I'm not gonna be high whatsoever. I'm in that state of mind. Because being high doesn't put me in the flow state when I fight.
I see.
I feel like it slows me down, and I'm like sweating harder to push it out of my body.
Answer my question. So it does not help you
It doesn't,
in competitive situations.
But it helps me when I make music.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Let's
Dude,
talk
like,
about it. So you're a musician, and I'm an artist, and boy, I love smoking some weed before I draw. I think it helps me. You know, I don't do it as much as I used to as I've gotten older. But when I was a younger man, that was kind of the routine: coffee, weed, draw. So you're a musician. You play the drums. I saw you on a piano. I think. What else do you play?
Trumpet, guitar, 6-string guitar.
Oh, you play
4-string bass, 6-string bass.
You do all of it.
Yeah.
You sing?
Yeah.
You sing?
Yeah.
You do everything.
Yeah.
You in a band?
No.
You just do this is a hobby. This is a passion.
It's not even a hobby, bro. Like I've worked with artists. I've worked with Afrobeats artists. I've worked with hip hop artists. I've helped produce some music, and it's fun. You know, I'm just want to start my own company, start my own record label, or like just start producing my own songs because I'm tired of being on other people's shit. And frankly,
Okay.
yeah.
So you do have that on your horizon, like really making music a part of your financial life. Make money with it.
I've been making music longer than I've been. I've already been made some financial moves to make on music. A lot of the stuff that I produced has made me some money. You know what I mean? Because like it took me like it was like 2.5 years ago. I went down to Atlanta and then started popping off. You know. But
what's your style? What's the music? What kind of music do you like making?
Hip hop,
Hip-hop?
Trap music, R&B,
Cool.
jazz.
I'll have to
you know?
check some of that out. I can find it, right? Spotify or something.
Not
like
even.
that.
I got nothing out. You only see
You'll
me like
send me
you only
something.
see me working with like live artists, or like you'll see me like in a studio producing something, and you won't see it
You
till
can't
later
send
when
me
the album
something
pops out.
special on the side.
I bet I could.
I want to hear it.
I'd have to go through. I have to talk to Craig and get my laptop stuff. So
You're a millennial, man, dude. Pro athlete, fighter, musician. That's like you're almost doing. Do you do any visual arts?
no,
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
fine.
I can't
you
draw.
can't do everything.
I can't draw for shit.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, I can't play drums for shit.
Awesome.
So, and I can't fight for shit. I don't think. I'm better at talking my way out of fights.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had to learn to be
See,
real
I
smooth.
would talk my way into fights.
Not me, man. I was always like, how do I get out of this situation? That's cool, man. You do all that stuff, and music is on the horizon. That's fun. That's good. I like making music too.
Yeah.
I'll tell this quick story. I microdose mushrooms, and at this particular time of my life, I was microdosing LSD, and I'm not fucking around trying to just play with drugs. I read articles about how it's really good for creative focus.
Dude,
So
I did a LSD in college one time. Everybody was like throwing a party downstairs at the frat house. And I can tell this now since I'm gone. But
I like these stories.
I sat up in my room and like closed the door, locked it, and like turned on Call of Duty and went 50-1 and called a nuke and won a game.
What?
Dude, I know, like
What?
bro, like I'm kidding you not, like I didn't have any headphones on. I felt like I was so like locked in that
Well,
like
have you ever-
I was like holding the controller and like ducking and like playing. And like I was like headshot, like nonstop. And then I saw in the left hand corner, it said nuke. And I was like, what? So I pressed it and I automatically won us the game. And my team was losing. I got reported. People thought I was cheating. But I was like locked in, like shooting my gun.
LSD can do that, dude.
Yeah.
I've had superhuman powers on LSD. I swear to God, one time I was in a room with 100 people, maybe a party, and I could look at anyone in the room, noisy, as loud as fuck. I could look at anyone in the room and I could hear exactly
what they're saying.
like I had headphones on,
Like your
dude.
selective hearing was like just for them.
Yeah,
I've experienced that.
that's weird.
Bro, I feel like I've experienced that when I have been on absolutely nothing though.
I have not had it on
Like think
nothing.
about it. When you're in a big arena, like for instance, at the national championship, that there's 50,000 to 80,000 people watching you wrestle.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's a massive arena. And you know, when everybody's screaming, it's when you're one of the top wrestlers in the country and everybody is looking at you, seeing if you're gonna win or you're gonna fail. And you're like, the crowd's going crazy, and your coaches are like talking to you, and you're in the middle of the mat, and they're like a little bit past the window to the edge of the mat, and you're sitting there looking at them, and you're in an arena full of people, and it's deafening. Why can't I hear what my coach is saying? It's like it's clear as day.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
And then I go out there and I execute exactly what he was saying. You know?
I think LSD unlocks potential that's already in us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But there's
Yeah.
also ways to unlock it through
Without
active,
it.
without it, with active movement.
Yeah. There's a story, I forget the pitcher's name, you can look up, you guys can Google it, but it was like not 80s maybe, but a professional pitcher, baseball pitcher, took LSD before this game, pitched a no-hitter.
Oh yeah, I seen that. I heard
Yeah.
about that. I heard
Pitched a
about that.
fucking
before.
no. He told it, I don't think he admitted it then, but later he's like, everybody, I just got to tell you, man, I was on LSD.
He's like, that was the craziest
But it's like
day
your
of my
Call of
life.
Duty story.
Yeah.
He got locked in. He
Locked
couldn't.
in so much, I couldn't miss. I could not miss. You
That's
know what I
cool.
mean? That's the thing about, like, there's flow state, but then there's like the flow state where you're executing perfectly. Like for me, I get into flow state in wrestling, but then there's the time where like I get into a flow state where I'm like, you might be a good wrestler, but I'm just dominating the shit out of you. I put myself 3 levels higher than you just to make a statement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to get taken down. I'm not going to get my head snapped. I'm going to counter every single thing you throw at me. And every counter that I have is going to cause me to score points on you without fail. And I like that mindset because when you're in that state of mind, when you're moving like that, when you're wrestling, when you're fighting, it takes half a second for you to make a mistake and you're knocked out and you lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, less than a second, you can lose just like that. So for you to tap into that state of mind and like to dominate like that, I feel like it's a skill that isn't just in us, but it's learned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you get to a certain point or a certain area of your expertise, that when you go to move, like for me, if I'm touching you and you go to punch me or you go to grab me, I can close my eyes and I'll be able to feel around and I'll be able to mess you up. You know, just because I've had times where I've had double black eyes and I can't see. But like, here's the thing. Just because I can't see, all my other senses, they're already attuned to the battle anyways.
Right. Yeah. I know. I mean, I think you just learn to unlock it.
Yeah.
You
You learn how to
But that's
move.
probably in all of us. If you
Everybody
train,
has it, but
right.
like you have it, but it's not accessible unless you learn it.
Right. And you got to be able to,
Yeah.
that's the key is getting to, well, that was, it's funny enough, dude. So on this LSD journey I'm on, I'm taking it every day as a microdose, but I'm increasing the doses and I'm really creative and I'm drawing all this, I'm producing at a high level. I'm like, well, this is working. This is good for my career. I learned later that you're supposed to cycle on and off because it can build up toxicity in your brain and it can cause psychosis actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, I opened my iPad one day. I'm like, what's GarageBand? I opened GarageBand, dude. I fucking never left GarageBand for 2 months,
Dude,
I
I
think.
remember when I first found that.
I was a music producer.
Yeah.
My wife's like, what are you doing? You should be at work tattooing people. I'm no, man. I'm making music now.
I'm making music right now.
But I made some pretty, I sent one of them to my friend who's an actual musician. Pierre, if you're listening to, thank you for the compliments. I sent him one. He's like, you wrote that? Because he doesn't know me as a musician. I'm like, yeah, man, I made that. He's like, no way. The piano on that. I didn't play the piano. I just kept playing with like the notes and I kept building this piano thing I did. He was kind of like shocked by that, but it was like an LSD moment where I was, for whatever reason, I unlocked this part of me that could make music. Now I ultimately realized that wasn't my destiny, and I didn't have another 5 years to become a music producer because I'd have to start from scratch. But it was interesting that came out of me under the influence of LSD, and then your story about Call of Duty and the professional pitcher.
Yeah,
there's something there, man.
Dude, that's what it is. Like, imagine like I'm thinking like a crazy level. Like, imagine like a Black Ops team, like a real live like Black Ops. Like these guys topple countries like overnight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like taking LSD and you're zoned in, execute your goal in half the time.
If they got zoned in.
If they got zoned in.
Sometimes you don't get zoned in on LSD.
Well, that's the thing. But like, imagine if there's a way to train your mind so when you take it, you unlock that certain skill.
Well, the military's played with it a lot.
Oh, I know they have.
They were trying to do that shit.
Yeah.
They were trying to make super soldiers
back
with
in
it.
like I think it was the Vietnam War and stuff.
Yeah. And I don't think it really worked out because again, it doesn't always happen. I mean, you could just get scared and strip off all your clothes and run into the woods. You know, you might do that too.
Yeah.
But you're right. If there was a way to train a person to where he or she knew how to work with it and could go into that zone every time they took it,
then you have a product.
Yeah, I'm sure the pharma companies are trying to figure that one out.
Oh, they definitely are.
Or they already have it.
They probably have it, but like it's only selected.
Yeah, only special people get it.
Yeah.
Like our president probably gets it every morning. Inside joke.
That's
Never
why
mind.
he looks like he's in psychosis.
Yeah, he's definitely on super thinker LSD. Yeah, apparently you can only I'm not big enough to say anything I want.
I can't say, you can't see me saying that either. So like,
I have so many things I want to say on this show that if I do, and I have, and I get fucking the show they do something in the algorithm and no one gets to see it. Like it's fucked up. The C word, censorship, that's going on, dude. Like whatever happened to freedom of speech?
oh, dude, that's we've never had freedom of speech since the beginning
Good
of our
point.
country. Yeah.
Good point.
Like, you want
That's
to talk
well
about
put.
freedom of speech? There's never been such a thing. We can speak to a certain point. If we say too much, we get shut up.
Yeah.
One way or another.
Yeah. I guess in this last 5 years, because of this show, I never had it happen to me.
Yeah.
And when it did, I got like, whoa. And you're right. I was like, this is a brand new problem. And it ain't no band. It's just,
it's been around for like 200 years.
Yeah, that is so true. When people get on, my wife, bless her heart, she's a big advocate for med. She owns a med spa, and she's awesome. You got these drips you're doing. We do all that stuff at her med spa.
Oh, cool.
And just really progressive medical things that she's into. That she's been censored, or you're not allowed to talk about it. And I think it's because some of this stuff.
It's so good that the government doesn't think it profitable. So then if it's not profitable, it makes no sense. So they're going to shut you up.
There you go. Exactly. So she got, she's still pretty angry about it and upset and just kind of like yelling to the world, this is fucked up. But I tell her what you just said. I go, look, honey, this ain't new. Okay. governments, big, powerful people throughout the history have censored and taken advantage of their populations. And to act like it's just the first time it's happened to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when something happens to somebody, I think it's like for the first time, but a lot of things that happen to a lot of people have been happening to a lot of people for a long time.
Read your history books,
Yeah.
dude. It's over. It's a very
like
obvious
history,
pattern.
History tech, like if you really look at history, it's been repeating itself
Yeah.
over. Look at the like the flus or epidemics.
Mm,
1820,
yeah.
1920, 2020.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Every 100 years we get a massive epidemic that breaks out. Back in the 1820, I think it was like the Black Plague. Back in 1920, it was the Spanish flu. 2020 was COVID.
Oof.
Tell me, why is that? Why is it evenly every 100 years that something's popping up? There's a reason for that.
Yeah, I honestly don't even know why the 100-year marker.
So like, watch this. 100 years from now, when we're dead, we're all dead. Another thing's gonna pop up. They're like, we haven't seen this since the big epidemic of 2020 when the COVID-19 vaccine hit.
Right.
Watch. Well, you can't, but like
for you,
like,
for
you know
you
what I
youngsters,
mean?
because the youngsters out there, the 2-year-olds out there will probably live to be 100.
Yeah.
You know, they'll see it. Yeah. So maybe this video will still be circulating. And
yeah,
they
they're
can-
gonna be like, wow, they knew that.
Him and
These
Big
guys
Z
were
had
really
it-
smart.
They had to figure it out, man. We had to figure it out. Oh, that's genius. Well, you mentioned you speak at events.
Yeah.
This is another part of your life. Like,
Yeah.
what is it that you do in that realm? Tell me about that.
I speak on all sorts of things.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things is I'm working on the foster care system. Don't get me wrong, I am not the face of the foster care system. I'm just somebody that's a product of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to help change the system so a lot of kids can get the help they need, get to the right homes, to get the right supplies, get the right things that they need to live and to grow and learn. I want to stop the people that aren't doing right by these kids. I want to throw them in jail, or I want to like strip them of their license. You know?
Is there a particular organization that you're affiliated
I'm working
with?
with Foster Dreams. I'm working with Foster Dreams in Miami. I'm working with Foster Nation in Los Angeles. I'm working with All Star Children's Foundation in Sarasota.
Is there some
Florida.
good change coming out of it?
Oh, some big things are about to happen.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Like, okay.
really big things.
Can't talk about it?
I don't want to talk about it because
When? Next year?
I would say in the next couple months, because like once we get everything squared away, when we have certain contracts down with like the government and other entities,
Some reforms are coming.
yeah, something's about to happen.
Well, good, dude.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that whole area of the government, the checks that get written to some people for it, it encourages abuse, it encourages laziness, it encourages all that bullshit,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, reform in those areas has to happen. You can't just give people money when they're just using it for meth. You know,
Yeah,
you got to have some kind of checks and balances. If you're using it for
Exactly.
meth, then you don't get the money.
well, yeah, exactly.
You know, if you're not taking care of a foster kid, then you don't get the money. You know, I'm assuming it's more complicated than that, and probably more difficult to oversee it all because there's so many foster kids and not enough people to check in.
There's not enough
and-
people to check in, and the people that do check in don't give a rat's ass about them anyway.
Well, it's a secondary issue then.
Yeah.
They don't even care.
Yeah.
That's a
So I wanted my initial plan. I just want to do a clean sweep.
mm.
You know what I mean?
Almost wonder if like you could
And
put
like you won't get swept up if you're doing good. If you aren't doing good, you're getting swept up.
just wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
All you people that don't pass the test, you're out.
Yep.
Anybody who thinks they're good enough, reapply.
Yep.
That would be difficult logistically, I'm sure.
It's difficult logistically, but if we can pull it off, it'll be good in the long run.
I wonder, like, this is such a silly thought, but why can't you put a couple cameras in these people's houses?
I know, right? Because
That doesn't have to be in their
because
bathroom.
it's technically illegal.
Right, but you want $5,000 check a month,
You want a $5,000 check a month? Let me see what you were actually doing.
right?
Yeah.
And you're going to buy everything on this credit card, and we're going to track that. We have an AI system that's going to see that they go to the store, they're buying what's on the list. Like, you know, you could almost create like a system that tracks people, you know, verbally, video, and where they're spending their money.
Well,
even
I'm not even tracks people like for the money wise. Yeah, AI system could possibly track that and determine. All right, this is not right. This is not right.
this person is doing a good job, but this person is
Yeah,
not.
but then on top of that, you gotta like checkups with the actual kids more. Kids will
Yeah.
tell you the truth.
Sometimes not though. About
They won't if it's too late.
Right.
But most kids, if you catch it early, most kids, they will tell you the most ridiculous. You know, ever heard the statement, kids say the darndest things because they have no filter. You feel me? Because
it's just truth.
Exactly. It's the truth because they're born innocent.
You
know?
Well, that's cool. I mean, what a great place for you to work in, right? You have direct.
I also speak like tech conferences and events. I also
inspirational type talks.
Sometimes I like Super Bowl Quavo last year. Go up on the stage and rock the stage in front of a couple thousand people and turn everybody up. You know, get everybody drunk. That's also fun.
You can be a hype man.
I'm not even a hype man. I like do my me talking like. I feel like I guess I'm gonna like brag on myself a little bit.
Brag,
but like when I talk, like there's me giving speeches, but like when I pick up a microphone and I walk onto a stage with like an artist, I'm like that man. You know what I mean? You feel me?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. That's cool. Yeah, you bring an energy. I said it in the earlier part of the interview. I can feel it coming off you, man. You bring in an energy that's gonna raise up whatever's around you at that time.
Exactly.
That's cool. Not a lot of people have that. That's a gift.
It's honestly fun as shit too. You know what I mean? Wow. It's the coolest. Like that event last year, like for instance, working with like Migos and all that. It's a cool thing. But like when you're sitting there and somebody hands you the mic and you're just like, it's either you're gonna put it down and walk away, and everybody's gonna laugh at you when you walk off the stage. I don't want that.
Right.
Or you're gonna walk out there and you're gonna say some shit.
Yeah.
And turn everybody up to the max.
Yeah.
Have a good night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, you're obviously you said you like it, you love it. You can't be good at anything if you don't like it and love it.
Yeah.
You gotta like it and love it, or you're just not gonna be great at it. And it sounds like you found some little angles in life of things you love to do. That's a good thing about you too. And a lot of people I talk to that are successful, it's really people that just find what they love and just do that.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times it's not economically viable in the beginning, the thing you love to do.
Bro, I was broke as hell, bro. When I first started speaking and I was like doing all that stuff, I had like $50 in my pocket. I was in college, had no money. I was working a job laying brick and detailing cars. You know, all my money was going towards my food and my bills for my rent at the frat house because like I had no money. So yeah.
You just got to keep going.
Yeah,
the money comes.
The money came eventually, but for a good 2.5 years, I didn't make anything. I was just doing it to do it.
Yeah,
and that's where I learned to respect it.
I call it the ring of fire. I think the universe, God, call it what you want, is prepared to give us our dreams, but it never just gives them to you like right away.
Yeah.
It wants to say to you, "You really want this? Yeah, I really want this. Okay." I'm going to make you suffer for just a little while because I want to make sure you're just not talking shit. And if you stick to this, I will give it to you.
Yeah.
But it's that ring of fire that everybody, I don't know anybody who's created anything extraordinary, a career, a marriage, a business, anything, who doesn't have that part of the story. Yeah. Nobody is like, yeah, man, I decided to be a guitar player. Next thing you know, I was on a stage making millions.
I mean,
nobody has that story.
Post Malone, technically.
I bet you he's even got something.
Dude, I know a lot of people that know him. That man was like your most average dude, and he just started making songs. Like
he just walked into it.
Yeah, and you just kind of like.
Well, there's always going to be those like unicorns. Right?
He's like a unicorn.
Yeah.
Like a dirty unicorn.
You're right. There's probably an exception or two, but most people have to go through the suffer part. And you said it right. It develops when you do get the thing. Man, do you appreciate it a little bit more?
Oh yeah, no, you definitely makes you appreciate it a lot because, you know, if I would have just given all this stuff, I feel like I'd be a cocky dickhead.
Yeah, me too. You gotta pay some dues.
And like, don't get me wrong, I'm a cocky fighter because my thing is beat my ass or shut up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I really mean that in the most truest form. I will talk shit about me fighting. Unless you kick my ass, I won't shut up.
Yeah, I mean,
you feel me?
It's a pretty honest sport.
It's an honest sport. So like. If I'm winning and I'm beating everybody up, I feel like I have bragging rights until you shut me up.
I agree. I do agree with that. Well, man, is there anything else we want to talk about today? Like anything you're up to? Anything you'd like the world to know?
To be ready for January to February
2024.
I will be in Italy as I go to re-break my first world record of being the world's fastest man on two hands.
No shit.
I broke the record, took it from somebody. Nah, I'm gonna re-break my own record and take it for myself.
You're training for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna start my training for.
All right. We'll be on the lookout for that. We'll also be looking out for you in your fights, in your tournaments, all your athletic events, your speaking. Where do people find you? Where should people go if they want to see your world?
If you want to look up, just look up my name, honestly, on anything.
You're
Zion
not hard
Clark.
to find. I found that
Yeah,
out.
that's not very hard to find. Type in Big Z97. That's Instagram. Big Z on TikTok. Zion Clark Big Z on Snapchat.
Okay.
Zion Clark on Twitter. Yeah, just type in my name on anything and you can find
there it is.
Yeah.
People can find out where you're going,
you're
doing.
I'm the only Zion Clark you're going to find. So.
All right, my friend. Well, look, I want to thank you for being here today. I want to thank you for what I consider to be some fine words of wisdom, words of wisdom that I'll incorporate into my own personal life. And I know a lot of people listening are going to get a lot from what you had to say for us today as well. So thank you for being you. Thank you for fucking leaning into life and just taking advantage of all the gifts it has given you and crushing and being an inspiration to so many. Thank you for being a lover of tattoos, because I love tattoos. Sir. And we're gonna, by the way, side note, we're gonna get you back in here. I know you need another tattoo.
Yeah.
I got just the guy for it. We're gonna get that handle for you. And a high five.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
crushing it, brother.
I already know.
And we'll see you on your next big whatever it is. We'll see you in Italy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all your shares and all your likes. I got my film guy trying to remind me about my sponsors over here. I'm such a dumbass. I would, though, he's right, need to always mention Sullen Clothing. They're amazing. If you're into tattoo art and you're into some of the best tattoo artists in the world and what they're making and producing and having it on a t-shirt or a hat or something, check out sullenclothing.com. Ryan and Jeremy, awesome people who take care of the tattoo community on every possible level. They're a sponsor of the show. Thank you guys for that. And thank you for tuning in for another episode. Stay tuned. Got a lot of great guests on the list. If there's anybody out there that you think would be amazing, shoot it my way. Cheers. And remember what the back of these hands say. Fuck it.
Yeah.